This is the Shrimp Trawler video channel.
Este es el canal de videos de camaroneros.
Strat-O-Matic Excel Carryover League. Brought to you by the Shrimp Trawler.
(1973 to 1976).
Welcome back, baseball fans. 1973-76 Carryover League. We got a game today between the Cincinnati Reds and the Chicago Cubs, the National League North. And this would be the last matchup in the National League before the All-Star break. So we decided to have the Reds, the defending National League champions, appear in the game. And folks, their general appearances in the World Series, of which there have been two or three, let's see, 1, 2, 3. They've been in like 3 of the last 5 World Series. It doesn't seem like, at least at this moment on the microphone, doesn't seem like there is going to be an interruption to that. And the Chicago Cubs, a team who surprised everybody last year as a wild card when their net run differential was right around 0, meaning that they got really, really lucky last year. Well, it's all come crumbling down, and when you get the Reds in front of some fresh meat, look out. Just, the Cubs are in the wrong place at the wrong time, going against the Cincinnati Kid. Game 1 in Cincinnati, Fergie Jenkins for the Cubs, Pat Zachary for the Reds. I'll get through this quickly. Joe Morgan homer, Rose RBI single, Geronimo RBI double, 2-run homer Foster, RBI single Griffey, Perez homer, 8-1. Let's just move on. Game number 2 in Cincinnati. What are we doing here? Oh yeah, bases loaded walk to Foster, a two-run triple by Concepcion, RBI single by Rose, bench RBI ground out, bench RBI, another RBI to ground out. We have an RBI single by J.L. Liu, a 300 hitting utility player who gets the star versus lefties. You know, a guy off the scrap heap. He goes 4 for 5 off the scrap heap. And the Cubs scored 4 runs, for what that's worth. 9-4, Cincinnati beats, who did they beat up this time? Doug Rauch, 4 1/3 innings, 10 hits, 9 runs. Let's move on. Let's at least go to Wrigley Field and see what happens, if anything. Reds win 8-2. Thing about this game, though, it was a very winnable game for the Cubs until they went to their bullpen, and then the Reds got 6 runs in the 8th and 9th inning, and a very winnable 2-2 affair turned into an 8-2 loss. Through all this, which I haven't been able to analyze with you all, is that the Red pitching staff's been outstanding. Zachary, Billingham, Gullett's been the shakiest of the big 3. But if the Reds are going to get good quality starting pitching, I'm wasting your time, folks. I mean, just skip to October and Cincinnati will sweep somebody in the American League 4 straight. That's where we're at right now in our league. And, yeah. Let's see. Before we start game 4, let's look at standing, I guess. That'd be fun. Okay, so right now in the National League, the Phillies are playing 7-04 ball. They got the top seed at the All-Star break, unless the Reds win today, and they're tied. The Reds lost a series, believe it or not. They actually lost a series to this team, Las Vegas, 3-2, which is still incredulous. Matter of fact, a year ago when the Oakland A's won the World Series, They won every series they played except an interleague battle against the Atlanta Braves, who are a very good team. So for the Reds to lose to a weak team in their own league, this is apples and oranges, folks, but it shows that last year's Oakland A's team really was the real deal. But this Cincinnati Reds team they're on another plane, and it's really going to be fun to watch the divisional and the league championships in the National League, because the National League, the top 5 teams are absolutely killing it this year. And the other 27 teams in Major League Baseball, they can do whatever the heck they want. We've got the Dodgers playing the best baseball they've been played in years. Even the Giants, they were back and forth in the West. The Giants at a 6 seed are playing 6-15 ball. Pirates have been they've won every series they've played except when they've played Cincinnati. They lost 4 out of 5. So the Pirates are 16-6 against everybody besides the Cincinnati Reds. And the Phillies, they beat up on the Mets, Marlins, Braves, but they're still an outstanding baseball team. All 5 of those teams are so much better than what's going on in the American League right now. Okay, enough of that. I'm just trying to create some filler content. Just trying to create some content and filler for Game 4. Oh, I guess we should consider the Cubs in the first pick in the draft. What do we have here? They got 7 wins in the National League. Kansas City's got 9. So, your Chicago Cubs, wild card team a year ago, wanting to win a division this year. How about the worst team in the league? Will you settle for that, Cubs? Are you willing to settle for that with all the improvements you made to be the worst team in the league this year? Reds at Wrigley. Today's pitching matchup, it's a repeat of Game 1. Pat Zachary, best year ever, 1976. 2.74 ERA in 204 innings. And he's going up against Fergie Jenkins. And this could very well be the final start in Wrigley Field for him. And he might be dealt in the offseason to the Texas Rangers. That's what the Major League chronology suggests. So he'll probably end up as a Texas Ranger next year, who desperately need a number 1 starter. Reds Cubs from Wrigley. Let's get started. Leading off for the Reds, Joe Morgan. 111 grounds the third. Pete Rose, 57, strikes out. Ken Griffey, 2-9, grounds the first. 3 up and 3 down for Fergie. He heard those rumors about being traded, so he wants to have a nice finish here in Wrigley. Leading off for the Cubs, Jose Cardinal, 5'10", catcher's X, bench a 1E5. Bill Madlock, 53, right X. In right field, you got Foster, he's a 2E4. And Billy Williams batting third now. 3-6 for Billy Williams. Let's take a look at the card. Billy Williams, he's getting older and older, and he has a progression where he gets worse and worse, but he's still really good here in 1973. He's not that MVP candidate he had been, but he's still hitting 288 with 20 home runs and 76 walks. He's probably 36, 7, 38 years old, something like that. 3-6, homer 1 of 14, and Billy Williams in front of the home fans with a solo shot. Cubs are leading. Batting fourth, Andre Thornton. 2-5, double 1 of 4, base hit. This might be the first Cubs lead of the series. Del Unser, 2-6, single ... And with 2 outs, it's Ron Santo. 67 off of Zachary's cards, a single to right field, but Thornton will score. Tim Hosley, the catcher. 65, Denton, Zachary's card in the first inning. Triple 1 and 2, single ... and the Cubs have a stunning 3-0 lead. This has the earmarkings of maybe a gentleman's sweep. Don Kessinger. Even Kessinger gets a hit. My goodness. 3-7's a single to right field. That'll score Santo. First and second for Brohammer. 5-11. Pitcher X. Zachary is a E7. And that's a single off of Zachary that just loads the bases. The Cubs are batting around in the first inning. It's Jose Cardinal. 2-11. Mrs. Coleman lines the first. 4-0 Cubs. You're not going to, Can you hold on to this one? Johnny Bench, 34 short. Tony Perez, 45, flies to left. George Foster, 2-5, grounds to short. Bottom of 2, it's Madlock. 2-8, grounds to third. Billy Williams, 53, come back there to the mound. And Thornton, 68, single on a 4, he gets it on a 3. Del Unser, 48, flies to center. We go to the third. It's Cesar Geronimo, 68. Single on a 3, can't get it. Dennis Menke, 2-5, short. And Concepcion, 5-10. Catcher's X. Hosley's a 4-16 catcher. And he makes the play. 9 up and down for Fergie. It's Ron Santo, 1-9. Is a walk. Tim Hosley, 38, another walk. Don Kessinger, 49, flies to center. Jack Dead Blowhammer, same thing, 4-9, flies to center. And with 2 outs, Jose Cardinal, 5-10, catcher's X, won't score a run. 25, foul out. All right, the Reds, 9 up and down. How often does that happen? Joe Morgan, 33, rolls to first. Pete Rose, 46, flies to left. Ken Griffey, 1-4, skies to center field. As far as this division goes as well, the Reds are also a game and a half ahead of Pittsburgh. They've also are +3 in the tiebreaker column against Pittsburgh. So if they meet, they're going to meet in the postseason tournament to decide who's in first. And the Reds, I think the Pirates would have to win 5 of 7, maybe 5 of 8. So it seems highly unlikely the Reds could lose somehow the division to the Pirates unless they go on a losing streak here against the Cubs. Bottom of the 4th. Bill Madlock, 2-11, grounds to short. Billy Williams, the big homer earlier, 56, a strikeout. And Andre Thornton, 54, center B. There are signs out in the stadium, tank for such and such. Tank for the first pick in the draft, but the first pick in the draft, it won't be Suter. They already got him. They already got Suter. They could trade for Bill Buckner. They could trade for Dave Kingman, I suppose. I'm trying to think of who would be the Cubs would add that would be worth the first overall pick in the draft. If you could find a great pitcher, doesn't matter where he started or relief, that'd be great. You already have Madlock. Late 70s Cubs. I'm trying to think. I mean, obviously Billy Williams is getting old. You want a left fielder. You got Ron Santo getting old, third baseman. Madlock will take over for him. You'd like to get out of Don Kessinger and Jack Brohammer if you can. I don't know. I don't know who the first pick would be. And we're way too early. As I said earlier, I'm just trying to create content here in the 5th inning. Johnny Bench, 57's a K. Tony Perez, 410, center X. Del Unser's a 2E5. Makes the catch. We got a little story happening here. George Foster, catcher's X again, 4E16. Don't get an error here, Hosley. Yeah, pass ball. We got 15 up and down. We got a story beyond the obvious one, you know? This could be the whole Cubs season could be this start by Fergie. You know, 12 outs to get. Del Unser, 39, flies to right. Ron Santo, 55, second X. And on a difficulty scale, if you perfect gamed the Dynasty era Big Red Machine, if you did that, man, I'm gonna this would be one of the biggest stories ever in my carryover league. Grounds out to second base. Shut that thing down there for a moment. All right, and that's Tim Hosley. 64, homer 1, fly ball, fly ball. All right, we go to the 6th inning, 4-0 game. It's going to be Cesar Geronimo. 35, he flies to right field. Dennis Mankey. 55, short X. Kessinger, a two shortstop, makes the play. And with 2 outs, it's Concepcion. 2-7's a strikeout, folks. 18 up and down. The Reds already started celebrating a sweep yesterday, and they look tired and bleary-eyed today. And they can't hit anything. Bottom of the 6th, Zachary's breaking inning. We'll have Kessinger. 62, second X. Morgan's a 1-13. Makes the play. Jack Brohammer, 410, center X. Geronimo's a 1-6. He makes the catch. And with 2 outs, Jose Cardinal, 610, short X. And Concepcion's a 2-21. Oh, he makes an error. Bill Madlock, 47 is a strikeout. 4-0 to the 7th. It all happened in the 1st inning and then nothing. We go to the 7th. Joe Morgan for the 3rd time. Here's the pitch to Joe Morgan. If there's a guy who can break up a perfect game, that's the dude to do it. 67, and he will. He'll break everything up. Off the Fergie card, 6-7 is double 111, and that's a base hit. Okay, no perfect game. No no-hitter either. How about a shutout? And then how about a win? In either or. Morgan at first. It's Pete Rose. 410, pops to second. Ken Griffey, 4-4, center X. Del Unser, 2-5 in center. Makes the catch, fly ball A. Runner in scoring position, Morgan tagged up on the deep fly ball. And it's Johnny Bench. 1-3, grounds to short. Fergie Jenkins fans on their feet. They said, you know what? No Milt Pappas moment here in Wrigley. But still, 7 glorious scoreless innings against the Big Red Machine, a team that has been terrorizing them in the first 3 games of this series. Wrigley Field in Chicago, stretch time here when this thing eventually comes up. We are enjoying the wonderful Syl Johnson, and it's a wonderful compilation. Here it is. The Complete Mythology, or some might say, the Complete Sylology. Did you like what I did there? We got disc 1, disc 2, 3, 4. This thing is 73, about 3 hours long. Everything you wanted to know about Syl, but were afraid to ask. Back to the game. Bottom of the 7th inning. Can the Cubs tack on some runs? It'll be Billy Williams. 2-7's a base hit. Andre Thornton, 47's a K. Del Unser, 38's a K. And Ron Santo, 67's a base hit. With 2 outs, it's Hosley. 1-9, a strikeout. We'll call it a day for Zachary. Nice, after that first inning, he settled down. 6 scoreless innings. 4-0 into the 8th. It's Tony Perez. 48, skies the center. George Foster, 68, a strikeout. Who are these guys? Is this like the 83, 84 Reds? Who are these guys? They're not any good. Geronimo, 46, flies to left field. A shutout of the Reds is a big deal, let alone a winning them. So, no perfect game or no hitter, but if you can get a shutout, bottom of the 8th, Clay Carroll he needs some work. Seldom is used this year because they've been dominating. Clay Carroll comes in the bottom of the 8th inning. Clay in 74 was a 12-game winner with a 2.14 ERA in 101 innings. In 72, he had top 10 MVP votes as a reliever. Really, this Cincinnati team is probably the team that really introduced the deep bullpen to Major League Baseball, probably more than any other team prior to that, with Sparky Anderson's use of them. Kessinger, 53, rolls to the mound. Brohammer, 1-4, grounds to the pitcher. He'll actually leave the game also, as Popovich will finish the game at second base as a better defensive player. And Jose Cardinal, 2-8 single. You want to try a stolen base off of Johnny Bench? Yeah, that's right. Everything else has worked. He gets a stolen base. No T rating. You just stole a base up 4 on Johnny Bench. And there's the glare from the red catcher. Bill Madlock, 49, second X. Morgan's a 1E13. And he makes the play. 4-zip in the 9th. All the Cub defense they have is in this game. Can the Reds come back and get the sweep? Can they score a run? Can the Cubs win? Leading off, Dennis Mankey. 1-7's a walk. Number 9 hitter. 287 hitting Dave Concepcion. Has to bat 9th on this team. 1-4's a 5-4-3 double play. Oh my goodness. And with 2 outs and a 9th, we're here already. This is a quick game, all gabbing aside. Let's take a look at Joe Morgan, just to look at a Reds card. So here he is, 1975 Joe Morgan. Probably the second best card in the entire decade. The only player better than Joe Morgan is probably Joe Morgan in 1976. So Morgan 76 and then Morgan 75 are probably the 2 best cards in the decade, in my opinion. 327, 132 walks, 17 home runs here. Here's the pitch to Joe Morgan to trying to stave off the shutout. 2-4 flies to right field, and now the Reds are like, oh, we just got shut out. That better light a fire under them. Fergie Jenkins, CGSO. Not the first of his career, of course. But still, when you factor in the opponent, what a big day it is for Fergie. It was a one-hitter. You one-hit the Reds. The hit was on Fergie's card. Hit off of Carroll. And Zachary takes the defeat. 10 hits to 4 runs. It was all done in the first inning, and that was the story. That's the whole darn game. 1009, 0108, 41101. 1425, 2514. So the Cubs, we'll look at some stats here in this part of the broadcast. Tomorrow, the Cubs are going to have the not on our field signs out there in this best of 7. Wanting to force the series back to Cincinnati for a 6-7 if necessary. But before we get there, though, let's take a look at some stats of the 2 teams. The Cubs, with that win, are now 8-15. They have scored 96 runs, given up 110. So it's a lot worse than last year. Plus, they're obviously not winning the close games this year. Fergie's just 3-5 with that win, and his ERA is still over 4 with 9 shutout innings tossed. Offensively, they're a 253 hitting team with a 439 ERA. There's not a lot to report here, folks. I'll be honest. I don't even know who they're going to send to the All-Star game. But that's a story for another day. Okay. Reds are 18-9. They're hitting 296. They probably were hitting 300 before that one hitter. 339 ERA. That's probably more impressive than the 296 average. You know the Reds are going to hit, but they're pitching. And speaking of pitching, I mean, I know someone's got to get the wins when you win 108 games like they did in 75. But Jack Billingham's 5-0, Don Gullett's 7-0. It's that Gary Nolan's 2-3, and Pat Zachary, that was his first loss, 3-1. So going into that start, the confident Pat Zachary and the Reds, the big 3 were 15-0. 15-0. That's not a misprint. They were 15-0 with Nolan 2-3, Clay Carroll 1-3, Bourbon has a loss, Moore has a loss. Home runs, Johnny Bench is 9. Up there in the MVP voting. 29 RBIs, leads the club. Bench is 32 hits. Foster's got 37 hits. Perez and Rose have 34 hits. Morgan's sort of an anomaly because, he has the walk. So he's 32 for 109. That's about 298 or 290 something. But he's got 22 walks, 11 stolen bases in there. Most importantly, the Reds have scored 171 runs. Cubs scored 96. 171 runs, and have only given up 102. So you could argue that the Reds should be even better than their 18-9 record is. All right, after the break, we'll give you the results of Game 5. It'll be a rematch of Doug Rowell versus Jack Billingham. If the series goes to Cincinnati in Game 6, the Cubs will have Bill Bonham against Gary Nolan. And if it goes to a full 7-game series, dare we say, it'll be Rick Russell versus Don Gullett. So that's all set up for you. So stick around. We'll give you the results of the rest of the series. All right, here is the box score of the game. The masterpiece you just saw, Fergie Jenkins. One hit. You one-hit the Big Red Machine in this game. Unreal. Morgan got the hit off of Fergie's card, so that gives more credibility. You know, Fergie gave up the hit on his own card. Now, if that hit was on Morgan's card, you could say, well, that's a shame, you know. But no, it was on Fergie's card. Walk and 4 Ks, complete game shutout. Zachary did okay after that first inning. 7 innings. His first loss, the first loss by Zachary, Gullett, or Billingham. And we're at the All-Star break. 7 innings, 10 hits, 4 runs allowed. Clay Carroll, a scoreless inning of relief. So what happens in Game 5? It's going to be a rematch of Billingham and Doug Rowell. Top of the first, the Reds come out ticked off, as you might imagine. A Rose single, a Lou single, RBI double bench, ground ball out, Tony Perez, 2 runs. But the Cubs at the bottom of the second have an answer, and you're thinking, hey, what's going on here? A Ron Santo double, a Kessinger double, a Concepcion error, a Madlock single, you got an unearned run there, it's 2-2. Low scoring again. 6th inning, though, back-to-back doubles by Bench and Perez, 3-2. Rowell allows a single to start the 7th inning, so they go to the bullpen. Ray Burris comes in, he walks a batter. Morgan doubles in a run, and then Pete Rose hits what should have a sac fly attempt to right field. Dennis Mankey, who came into the game as a defensive replacement, gets thrown out at the plate trying to tag up. You could have held and just let J.L. Lou and Bench swing, but they attempted a sac fly to go 5-2. And a bonehead mistake by Mankey, it stays 4-2. Bottom of the 7th, after a single and a couple outs and a walk, ground ball to Dennis Mankey. Bonus bonehead play. He makes an error. Doesn't hurt the team, though. Get out of the inning. In the 8th inning, after 2 outs, ground ball Dennis Mankey. Bonehead play, another error. This guy... It's like the disastrous Dennis Mankey game. He was just sitting, minding his own business for 6 innings. Then in the 7th inning, he gets a base running mistake, and he gets an error in the 7th and 8th innings. Too much excitement. Ultimately, the Reds hold on to the 4-2 lead. In the 9th inning, they go to Baylor to start, Clay Carroll to finish. Cubs do load the bases, but Clay Carroll gets Jose Cardenal to pop out to end the game and the series, and arguably the Cubs season at the same time. Reds win 4-2 in Game 5, winning the series 4-1. We'll take a quick peek again at the standings. These are your standings at the All-Star break in the National League. And yeah, the Phillies have a half-game lead over the Reds with plenty of baseball left. Moreover, the Pirates find themselves exactly a game and a half back. And with the Reds having a +3 tiebreaker head-to-head, it's going to make the math more difficult. Winning 7 games, 4-3 is not going to work for the Pirates. You're going to have to win 5 of 7 just to get to the top first place without clinching anything. So it seems like the Reds will most likely hold on and win this division. Practically. The Phillies are going to hold on to that one. We do have a dog fight out west. Similar game and a half back situation. So, but it's hard to... I don't think the Dodgers are nearly as reliable as the Reds in that sort of scenario. The Giants stronger than the Pirates. Dodgers weaker than the Reds. Sort of makes this seem more competitive. And the 6th and final playoff team in the National League always goes to the expansion division. And this is what we were hoping wouldn't happen, folks. And this is one of the worst years. Normally, in our expansion division, we get at least one good team coming out of this, coming out of the morass. And not this year. But the other situation is sometimes the Mountain Time Zone plays so well against a watered-down schedule that you get a wild card team here as well. So that's the good news. No wild card team, just the one division winner, whoever that turns out to be. Pull a name out of a hat, doesn't matter to me. They'll get bounced in the first round. And that's a pro and a con for the National League. The pro is whoever plays this team has a huge advantage. The negative is it takes a playoff spot away from the Cardinals or the Braves or the Mets or another team that's right on the outside looking in. So, though, not to elaborate, but the point is with 8 expansion teams, it's nice to have 4 of the 8 in one division, meaning that 1 out of the 8 teams is guaranteed a playoff spot. So that's 25%. So I think that's about right. If you're going to have expansion teams, you don't want to completely make them awful and with nothing to play for. So at least 4 of the 8 teams have a definite shot to go to the playoffs. And we've seen Toronto play very well. Seattle is actually a game and a half back out here. Expansion team is at 500 over here. The team with the hardest road generally are the Florida Marlins, because they're all by themselves against 3 generally very competitive baseball teams that are usually have winning records. Phillies, Braves, Mets. So, well, that was a kind of a long way of saying break up the Cincinnati Reds. They took care of business. They beat the Cubs 4-1. Thanks for checking this out. We'll see you next time.